dock, please, please, please. Hey, travel cruisers, have you ever missed the boat? Oh, what if you're on a cruise and you missed the boat? That's no fun. Let's talk about it. Hi, travel cruisers, it's Rick. Okay, so this is a cruise disaster. This is labeled one of my first cruise disasters ever. I almost missed the boat. But this story is about people who actually missed the boat, and it wasn't, well, I guess it was their fault. I suggest arrive a day early to your port because you don't know traffic, you don't know the airlines. If you book the airline through your cruise, they're guaranteed that you'll make it or something. They'll make it right somehow. But if you book just a normal flight on the day of your cruise, that's up to you. I almost missed the boat twice, actually, now that I think about it. I've got two stories about that. So let me get into the reason. First of all, let me explain the one where the people missed the boat and it was an awful situation. Okay, this was
Carnival Freedom.
Carnival Freedom of the Seas.
Carnival Freedom.
2010, we boarded the ship in Florida, in Fort Lauderdale, Florida. And it was great. And we're sitting in the lobby. You know, everybody has to be on board and the ship doors close and everything. And nobody can get on board after that. No matter what you say or do, you can't get on board. And I know that. So I'm sitting in the lobby. Me and my partner are sitting in the lobby and having a drink in the lobby. And we're gonna, as soon as the ship starts moving, we're gonna run up and watch, you know, everything sail away. So the sailing is about 4 o'clock. So it's about 10 till 4. And this woman is panicked, screaming at the front desk people. They're out on the dock. They're out on the dock. Please, please, please. And you're just like, oh no, what's going on? And the lady's like, my family just made it. They're on the port. We haven't left yet. Please let them on. Please let them on. Like 4 of her family members, I think it was 4 or 5 of her family members. It was supposed to be like a big reunion cruise. They were coming from, I want to say Michigan. I don't have the full details, but they were coming from like Michigan or something. I want to say they drove. I kind of think they drove or they flew. Something happened where they were late. They didn't make it. They didn't make the boat. They were late. They didn't get on an hour before, whatever it is. Whenever they closed the doors, they weren't there. And that's a no-no. And a seasoned pro like me knows that, but they didn't. And so, okay, so they're on the dock. The woman is begging the front desk, please let them on, please. Oh, it was horrible. It was horrible to watch. Horrible to watch. And I heard them saying, ma'am, I'm so sorry. We have protocols and we cannot open the ship once we've shut the doors an hour ago. Or 45 minutes ago, whatever it was. So sad. And I looked outside and I saw the family. I think there was about 5 people in there. It was so sad, so sad. Ma'am, they can pick up the ship tomorrow when we dock in Key West. We're leaving from Fort Lauderdale. It's like a 5-day cruise. Oh, that's terrible, but not too tragic because they can. So they either drove. This is why I think they drove. And there was just really bad traffic. There was a bad accident or something, and that's why they didn't make it. Okay, so they drove to Key West the next day. Guess what happened? The next day, we're sitting, you know, we're waking up, and here's the captain. Ladies and gentlemen, unfortunately, the weather is too bad for us to port, to dock in Key West. We're very sorry. We're going to try to get another alternative port. We're like, no, because that's the only reason I booked that cruise is to go to Key West. I didn't care about the other places were Grand Cayman and Jamaica. Nice places, but I didn't care about those as much as Key West. I just wanted to go to Key West. I was pissed, and this happened to me before, but I'll talk about that in another video. But anyway, those poor people drove and got to Key West, couldn't pick up the ship. So the next port was, the captain was very nice and drove us to Cozumel before any of the other. There's only 2 ports in Cozumel, and he got one of the ports because all the other cruise ships were scrambling because they couldn't go to Key West either. So we got to Cozumel. I don't know if they ever got on the ship. But I hope they did. They would have had to flown, and I don't know if they did. I think they just gave up, but I don't know for sure because I don't know the full impact of that story. I just don't know what happened. Tragic. That's a cruise disaster when you miss the boat. So don't miss the boat. I recommend getting there a day before Now, I've gotten lazy before. There was 2 times where I've almost missed the boat myself. One time was Scott and I were going on just the local port. We lived in Hollywood, and we were going to the port of Los Angeles. It takes about an hour to get there. And I remember looking at the stuff, and it was 4 o'clock. We had to be there by 4 o'clock and blah, blah, blah. And so we drive down there. We get there by 3:45, and everything and blah, blah, blah. And we get in there because we have to be there by 4. So it probably leaves at 5 or 6, whatever. That's what I was thinking. Traffic wasn't bad. Got there. Nobody's there. Nobody is there. We get there like 10 minutes before they were going to close the doors. Because they closed the doors at 4. That's what they were saying. You must be checked in by 4. Not that the cruise is leaving at 4, or that the cruise is whatever. In my mind, the cruise was going to leave at 5 or whatever. And I think that's actually what it says in the documentation. You leave at 5, but you have to be checked in by 4. So this was one of my first cruises, and I was like, huh? Anyway, we got there at 3:10, I think, is when we finally got up to just barely made it, and nobody else was there. And you know how they take your picture? And there's a line, and they take your picture, and none of that. It was like, get on board, and almost missed the boat. Second time was family reunion cruise in Alaska. And so I had to fly from Los Angeles to Seattle. So I got down there my flight left at 6:30, and I got down there at 5:30, and I was in a big long line. And what I should have done, I was too young and naive, but what I should have done, excuse me, my flight's leaving, I need to check my bag, and I need to get up there. I'm sorry, I have to get in front of everybody. That's what I should have said. But the sign said, you must be checked in here if your flight leaves at 6:30, you must be checked in at 6. So I'm like, oh, okay. I finally get up there. Or maybe it's 5 till 6. I finally get up there, made it, because it's 6 o'clock, and I have to be there I have to check in by 6. It's 10 till 6. I have to check in by 6 because my flight leaves at 6:30. She's like, oh, sir, we've already given away your seat. I'm like, what? What do you mean? It says your sign right here says 6, and it's not even 6 o'clock yet. Oh, I know. That's just a guideline. We've already given away your seat. I'm like, oh my God. Because this is a big deal, because the cruise was leaving in just a few hours. I have to get there. So I went ahead, and they said, we're going to try to get you on this flight, which I'm glad I did. So I was waiting for the next flight, but it was full too, and I didn't make that flight. So I went ahead and knowing that was a possibility, I was flying standby on a flight, and then I'd have to stand by on another flight. So I went ahead and bought another one-way ticket. And I got a one-way ticket and just barely made it there in time. We ran. I mean, I had the taxi driver just rush me to the port, because again, 4 o'clock, and rushed me to the port. My dad met me outside. We rushed through my thing. Seriously, like 10 minutes before the cruise is going to leave. And oh my God, that was so scary, because that would have been a really big deal. But I got there. Then when I came back, I used my first original ticket, and they pulled me aside, because this is 2005. Remember 2001, terrorist attack and stuff. So they were all cautious. They're like, you didn't come on your first flight. And they're just pulling me aside to question me. I'm like, oh, that's because of this and that, and I have my ticket, and blah, blah, blah. And they gave me a $100 refund, but I don't think I ever used it. $100 credit. I don't think I ever used it because I just didn't have time. But those are the 2 times I almost missed the boat, and the time somebody else missed the boat. So don't miss the boat. Please go early. Thank you for watching. If you like this kind of content, please like and subscribe to Travel Cruisers, and I'll see you on the next cruise.